Oh, seven.
All right.
Wait, no.
Homelessness in the state. That is now a requirement for distribution of funds. It's also a requirement that there's accountability on the utilization of the prior funds and that you're actually investing those funds. You're not just hoarding those funds, which has been the case in some cities and counties that have sat on tens of millions of dollars for years and years and years, and yet sat there, complained about the situation, and demanded even more money. In this new round, we're demanding more accountability and transparency in that space. We also, as was highlighted, are investing now in the next frontier. In 1959, we had 37,000 beds for our behavioral health system in the state of California. 37,000 beds. In 2023, we were down to 5,500. 37,000 in 1959. 5,500 in 2023, with a population twice as large in 2023 as the population in the 1960s. Dumb as we want to be. It was a bipartisan endeavor to move away from state hospitals, a bipartisan endeavor that was designed to then begin to invest in community alternatives, but those investments never took shape. So we are now shape-shifting with the overwhelming opportunity that Proposition 1 presents. It was 18 months ago that passed, the fastest distribution of bond funds in California history. As was stated, up to 70% now of those dollars locked in, lined up for projects just like this. That's the why we are back here. $31.4 million will go from Proposition 1 to support the project you see behind me. It's about rehabbing, acquiring, and building back that system. 4,200, you heard, 4,236 locked and unlocked beds. That money has now been distributed. Those dollars are now lined up with CEQA reforms that were part of what the voters approved. We're not doing business as usual. So we're very proud of that $6.38 billion bond. We're very proud of the $31.4 million that is supporting this project. We're very proud of those 4,236 units that are now in the queue and getting lined up. And we're very proud of the progress cities like San Francisco, cities like LA and San Diego, other beneficiaries of HAP 6 distribution of funds are making in this space. And so I thank all of you for allowing me back in this room to be here and share this space with all of you to address the most vexing, challenging, and most meaningful issue of our time. And I'll close on that because you began on that, the human side of this. And I just want to acknowledge everyone's journey is unique. Everyone's expression is unique. And that's what makes this so challenging. One size does not fit all. And so the issues, the Native communities are unique and distinctive. And it's incredibly important, as Christina Snyder and others remind me all of the time, that our strategies reflect the diversity within our state, the unique needs and characteristics, but also, as defined, final words, in that frame, community. People should not be struggling alone, nor can they necessarily recover alone. And so it takes, you said it, a village, but it also takes people willing to be members of that community. And so for all of the caregivers and counselors and support staff also supported $2.4 billion in Proposition 1, I just want to thank you for your example and your inspiration as well. With that, I have two things to say. Number one, the mayor has to be mayor, so he has to go. Number two, we're here to answer all the questions you may have had for him and any questions you may have for me as well.
Governor, the progress your county states has been to comply with the numbers of prisons and real consider of the governorship.
The high-quality industrial products you need. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Purpose-packed ingredients for when life gives you a ledge, a swell, a path, a peak. Benefit-stacked, action-packed wellness shots. 5 Organic. Give it a shot.
You are not. I couldn't do that show. There's no way. Every day we're so crazy. It's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt.
Now Wednesday night, when true crime tragedy rocked daytime TV.
The verdict in the so-called talk show murder trial.
There are real life consequences to people's private lives and ambushing them.
It was a very scary thing.
Dirty Talk, when daytime talk shows rule TV. Wednesday on ABC.
Driving that steady increase in why is it taking so long?
I'm tremendously proud of the progress we're making. Before I got here, between 2015 and 2019, we saw almost 52% increase in unsheltered homelessness. We've made real progress in the last few years. It was 0.45% last year increase. And I know that you guys highlighted that, and a lot of the headlines reflected the fact that the nation had an 18.13% increase in homelessness last year. California 7%, but 0.45% on unsheltered, which was lower than 44 states. And I thought that was important last year because it marked a moment of progress. And we said more is coming. And this year, we're seeing that progress continue. So it's a flywheel. Decades and decades of neglect coming from the state level. That's not been the case the last number of years. We can mark that progress in the last few years in particular. We can also mark the challenges that we face and this nation faced during COVID, during those peak moments in 2021, 22, where we saw a lot of challenges, particularly as it relates to what was happening on the streets and sidewalks all across the United States, including here in California. And so we were able to break down the barriers, be it issues around Grant Pass, issues around conservatorship reforms, issues around new strategies like Care Court, aligning our strategies around CalIM and the other Medicaid reforms that we've advanced in the state, the mobile efforts we've had for reimbursement, all these areas. Home key, room key, things we've highlighted. And we're finally seeing the stacking of all those things, not one particular issue or an initiative, but all of them starting to stack together. Producing real progress.
Governor, how is the accountability measured by the state? What's the good metrics of talking point-in-time counts, exits to housing, detention? How's the state going to make sure that
It's the annual HUD process that the COCs, there's 44, 30 that just provided their information, the 14 that work on a different schedule. And so it's the pick count. It's the well-established pick count, which, by the way, is the most imperfect count you can get. Let me establish that as well. No one's naive about that. It's how many volunteers you have, what the weather is like. It's, there's been a lot of, so it's an imperfect process. And I'm not naive about that. But nor am I naive about the progress that you're seeing in cities like San Francisco. It's real. And that's reflected in the numbers, not in every part of the state, but in most parts of California. So we just want to keep that going. The issue around behavioral health is the issue that needs to be addressed, and that's what we're doing. $40 million with $6.38 billion. We're also doing something that's incredibly important. You'll be writing and talking a lot more about this. In July of this year, we're reforming our Behavioral Health Services Act, and we're redirecting about $1 billion a year, annual appropriation, minimum commitment to cities and counties to house folks under the Behavioral Health Services Act, particularly people that are duly diagnosed with drug or alcohol addictions, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and the like. So the eligibility requirements have changed. The shift of funding to prioritize homelessness and housing and those that are most chronic and in need will be changed in July. And the big part of it, first time in state's history, I can't make up for 50 years, but we're able to get progress and support despite opposition. You voters are requiring a single plan in every county in California. So rather than 88 plans in LA County, one single plan to integrate all of these funding sources that is an auditing component and is transparent. And finally, if you want to see the details, go to accountability.ca.gov. That should be right up here on this thing. Accountability.ca.gov, and I encourage you to do so because it will answer your question with specificity. In every county in California, you'll see where they are in conservatorship reform, where they are in care court, where they are in terms of the pick count, where they are in terms of housing compliance and homelessness, where they are on the arena goals. I can go on, but it's the first site the state has ever put forth to lay out accountability on state dollars.
We get similarities in 9% sharing that my understanding of frequency zero is actually not included in that. I'm not saying how big the frequency is not.
I wish it was, it'd be lower.
Doesn't include Sacramento where homelessness is, I feel like it's still around Los Angeles. I mean, what is that 9%
Well, I was answering her question and specifically referenced where it was coming from, the 30 COCs that provide data under the annual pick count to housing and urban development. So that's precisely, well, the COCs incorporate the cities and counties, so they are the actual collecting body that provides that information to HUD. Yeah.
figures yet on overall or shelters?
That's what we're waiting, this is interesting as well. Usually the federal government comes out with these numbers in December. For whatever reason, they've delayed these numbers. Trust but verify. We'll be stress testing what they put out when we stress tested the 30 COCs that have provided these numbers in a very transparent way and accountable way. And I imagine the overall numbers would likely go up if we're successful, because more people by definition are housed. That means less people are unsheltered. And so it's one of those numerics, depends on your point of view, what you want to promote. You want a point of view of pessimism, point of view of optimism. For me, the unsheltered is the very optimistic numeric. This is the one we focus our attention on.
Questions on your budget proposal, especially when it comes to immigrant migrants. One is that there's basically out of your proposal, there's going to be a number of differences among immigrants and what coverage levels they may have. Those who are legal, who are refugees asylum, will be losing their full status of Medi-Cal, while others who may not have documentation and signed up before December 31st will retain their full status. How do you justify that kind of difference, and is there anything that can be done? A lot of advocates will say you're creating kind of a three-tier system when it comes to Medi-Cal. And then the second question being, your budget, according to your finance director, assumes that the state will be applying rural requirements to undocumented Medi-Cal recipients, even though that's not required in the federal legislation. Can you explain that?
So, multiple things are happening at the same time, which you know well. You have HR 1, the big beautiful bill, the requirements that are set forth in that process that have a lot of criteria and considerations that need to be put in place, including those requirements, and then a separate conversation on that across the spectrum of supports. State of California has advanced a number of programmatic expansions that no other state in the nation has expanded. We put some brakes on that last year. On that expansion as it relates to capping the enrollment, because we needed to do so in order to maintain our fiscal prudence, to balance the budget, which we're statutorily required to do, which is the budget we put forth just a few weeks ago, or a week or so ago, to the legislature in May. And I've made this point the last 2 years, and I'll reinforce it. The budget means little at this moment, means very little. I'm an expert on this. The volatility that we're experiencing with the federal government, the cuts, the lawsuits, the uncertainty is unprecedented in California's history. We anticipate about $1.1 billion in cuts to Medi-Cal under HR 1 in this fiscal year in the budget that I'm promoting. About $300 million as it relates to SNAP benefits, CalFresh benefits, about $1.4 billion. But there's also a lot of other conditions that need to be considered, particularly as it relates to our litigation posture. You may have seen on mental health dollars, the president tried to suspend all behavioral health funding to the states. He then backed off. That was just this week, just highlighting the uncertainty. Did the same thing in blue states just for childcare. The uncertainty is unprecedented. May is the real budget process, and we made that clear just a few days ago. That said, we've been benefited by $42.3 billion of additional revenue that we did not project last year. Another $2.9 billion that was not part of the $42.3 billion that was in the December revenue forecast, which will be adding part of what May represents. We'll see what happens in January, February, March, April.
Yeah,
And
we'll
then
see what
have a
happens.
budget that reflects the concerns
We'll
that
see
you
what happens.
highlighted, that have been expressed, and we'll see what we're able to achieve. But no state in America is doing more for our diverse communities in the state of California, period, full stop. No one comes close. No administration has done more to expand full coverage under Medicaid than this administration for our diverse communities, documented and undocumented. And I've been criticized. There's networks that have built careers, people that built careers that are criticizing my advocacy for that support. And if you think I overstate, just rerun the tape just from this morning. The President of the United States himself was on a friendly show